Going incognito, I like it. Hey, what was it like when that firework blasted your cornea off in '77?
Man, I don't know. Probably bad.
No kidding. Steven Tyler in my handicap stall.
Doc, 2-hour finale, Tuesday on Fox.
Hi there.
Let's get it on! What animal is suggested by this image?
We all know the answer, except for that one guy.
Let's get into it!
Which of these share a border with Missouri? My family gonna think I'm stupid.
No, all of America will think you're stupid.
A big night of premieres, the 1% Club, followed by the Quiz with Balls, tomorrow on Fox.
Now, your primetime local news leader. Fox 22 News at 10.
2 people have been displaced following a fire at a residence in Blue Hill. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday night for Fox 22 News at 10. I'm Doug Banks. The Blue Hill Fire Department responded to a structure fire on Kingdom Road at around 8 p.m. yesterday. Upon arrival, crews found a fully involved 2-story residence with flames coming out of the windows. According to Blue Hill Fire Chief John Chapman, the 2 residents were evacuated and did not sustain any injuries, but all of their belongings were destroyed in the fire. Chief Chapman says the structure's metal roof made it challenging for firefighters to attack the flames. He says the home is a total loss.
Difficult situation. Somebody's lost everything they own. That's the hardest part. There is a pretty good support network for the individuals here. We did call the Red Cross to make sure that they were advised. We're very fortunate in this area that we have a firefighter that's actually with the Red Cross. So we were actually able to start that ball rolling right here from the scene.
Shared that their 2 dogs are safe, but 1 cat is missing. The Department of Public Safety today deemed the fire as accidental and was caused by careless disposal of smoky materials. No injuries were reported. A GoFundMe has been created to assist the couple. That information can be found on our website, foxbangor.com. A Palmyra family lost their home in a fire yesterday. Crews at around 11 a.m. responded to a travel camper converted into a woodworking shop on Warren Hill Road, heavily involved in flames. When they got on the scene, the fire had already spread to an adjacent home. No person was home at the time of the fire, but there was a cat in the residence that the Department of Public Safety today said still remains unaccounted for.
Us in another town were actually out at training, so manpower was a little low. So we had Corinna, Newport, Pittsfield, Canaan, St. Albans, and ourselves.
The Department of Public Safety today says despite investigators being unable to determine an origin and cause of the fire, there is no indication of suspicious activity, and the fire is classified as undetermined. To southern Maine now, state police are investigating a suspicious death in Brunswick. According to spokesperson Shannon Moss, the Bath Police Department responded at around 6:30 Friday night to a reported disturbance. It was then that a male subject, identified as 45-year-old Tanner Dostai of Brunswick, made statements to the officers that prompted further investigation. That investigation led them to a Brunswick residence where a deceased male was located. Dostai was charged with murder and transported to the Cumberland County Jail. The body of the deceased was transported to the office of the chief medical examiner for an autopsy and identification. Authorities say the investigation remains ongoing. In other news, a Maine mom is suing a Penobscot County hospital and 2 providers for alleged medical malpractice. She claims they mishandled her daughter's painful joint condition. Our Callie Warren has a story.
Many 7-year-old girls love to play outside, run around, participate in sports, but according to her mother, 7-year-old Kensley Haven didn't have that opportunity without constant pain and discomfort. Her mother, Elizabeth Haven Sirami, says it's the fault of the healthcare providers who were meant to help her. This is Kensley Haven, who faces a possible lifetime of pain, according to her mother, who's suing the Millinocket Regional Hospital for alleged medical malpractice. According to the lawsuit, Sirami says that her daughter Kensley suffered since birth with a condition called developmental dysplasia of the hip, or DDH. It means her hip sockets failed to develop normally and stabilize. In a complaint filed in Penobscot County Superior Court on Tuesday, Sirami says both of Kensley's hips were dislocated until she was almost almost 5 years old. It resulted in pain, delayed milestones, and an abnormal gait, which she says her daughter's healthcare providers, now defendants in this case, failed to diagnose and treat. Sirami says that if these defendants had recognized Kensley's condition when she was younger, she might have been able to avoid multiple invasive surgeries, increased risk for a degenerative hip disease, and likely lifelong physical impairment. The complaint she filed details multiple instances in which Kensley's healthcare providers, family nurse practitioner Melody Hamilton and Dr. Edward Dunstan, allegedly failed to recognize her hip dysplasia. The complaint reads in part, quote, "Clear warning signs of DDH were repeatedly documented, but misunderstood or unappreciated, improperly evaluated, and ultimately not acted upon until the window for effective treatment had closed," end quote. Sirami is seeking damages for medical expenses, physical suffering, emotional stress, and more. Additionally, she's suing for Kensley's permanent impairment, pain, suffering, distress, loss of earning capacity, and other issues. We reached out to the hospital for comment, but have yet to hear back at this time. Sirami declined to comment, and her legal team has not responded to our request. In studio, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news, Governor Janet Mills signed the $500 million supplemental budget on Friday at Eastern Maine Community College here in Bangor. The budget includes a 2% tax on Mainers who make more than $1 million, $300 relief checks for qualifying Mainers, and makes free community college permanent.
Everything that this campus and the 6 other campuses offer are critical needs for our people, our families, our economy, and critical needs for the young people who need to find a good job, to need to find a good career that fits them, that suits them. And that's what I've seen in touring the community college campuses all over this state. People so excited to be where they are, learn what they're learning, and do what they're doing.
And some House Republicans shared their perspectives about the budget signing in their weekly radio address. House Republican leader Billy Bob Fockingham and Assistant Leader Katrina Smith said after 8 years of record-breaking revenues, Democrats raised taxes on working families last year to cover massive main care shortfalls, and they claim they are doing it again.
After targeting low-income earners, now they're raising taxes again, this time targeting high earners. But here's the reality. Those taxpayers are the most mobile. They can leave, and when they do, Maine loses jobs, investment, and future revenue.
To the campaign trail now, Governor Janet Mills also spent Friday afternoon in Bangor with her Senate campaign team, visiting local businesses and meeting with constituents. Alex Schley has the story.
Maine Governor Janet Mills spent Friday visiting local businesses and meeting with community leaders to discuss the issues that matter most to Mainers. In October, Mills announced she will run for the U.S. Senate against longtime incumbent Susan Collins, who has represented Maine in Washington, D.C. since 1997. However, since then, she has spent limited time on the campaign trail.
I'm a full-time governor. I've got a full-time job on top of campaigning. So, I have been focusing a lot on that.
But with the supplemental budget now signed and the legislative session set to adjourn next week, Mills says she expects to spend more time outside Augusta. She began her afternoon at Briar Patch, an independent bookstore in downtown Bangor, where she picked up several books for her grandchildren and herself.
I think it shows that she supports small business, which is the backbone of every community.
Later, she sat down with community leaders from across central Maine to hear what they want to see from their next U.S. Senator.
The issue that I would like to talk about is in Maine right now, school construction is just going to be a huge problem.
Despite the primaries being less than 2 months away and Graham Plattner taking a significant lead, she says she plans to rely on the same campaign strategy that's proven to work for her in the past.
My strategy has always been retail politics. And that's what I love to do. That's what I do. That's how I won before, and I'll win again.
In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And also on the campaign front, State Senator Jim Libby has dropped out of the race to be Maine's next governor. Libby shared his decision in a Facebook post saying, quote, "As I did not qualify for clean elections financial support, I have determined my campaign is no longer viable," end quote. Maine Ethics Commission staff found Libby did not submit the necessary number of valid qualifying contributions. Candidates are also required to submit proof that contributors are registered to vote in Maine. The Maine Ethics Commission says Libby did not do that for a significant number of his contributors. Moving on, Americans generate an estimated 3 billion sharps in at-home injection waste, and one website is trying to encourage responsible and safe disposal. MyOldMeds.com is a website that helps people find drug and sharps disposal resources, and they've just launched a Maine-specific page to provide patients with adequate disposal resources. The page advises sharps disposal in sealed and labeled plastic containers. It also provides a locator of drop-off locations for sharps and other prescription medications. National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day is Saturday, April 25th, but not all take-back sites accept sharps. For a link to those resources and more information, you can visit the story on our website, foxbangor.com. Now the news, plans for a new town dock in Bucksport are moving forward. According to Community and Economic Development Director Rich Rotella, the current 315-foot wooden seasonal structure is slated for replacement with a 400-foot concrete year-round structure, and that replacement project officially went out to bid on Friday. He says one of the many benefits the new dock will have is it will be compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act.
The goal is to get through the bid process. Work cannot begin until November 15th in the water due to regulations.
The project to install the new town dock began in 2019 and is funded with around $4 million in congressionally directed spending through Senator Susan Collins' office and the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Rotella says the goal is for the new dock to be ready by the spring of 2027. All right, folks, let's hit pause and turn things over to Chase Ropenakusin now. The first look at our forecast. Chase?
Thank you very much. Not too bad of the day for your Sunday today. We saw increasing clouds out there. That still got our highs up into the mid-50s here in Bangor. The winds from the south kept you a few degrees cooler along your coastline, 52 in Bar Harbor, 50 in Rockland. But many of us still in the mid-50s out there, and even saw 50s reach up into Presque Isle right at 50 for your high this afternoon. Now for tonight, plenty of us will be seeing some rain showers moving in a little bit later. A little bit past 4 a.m. is when you can expect those rain showers to move in, and they're going to be heavy at times overnight into tomorrow morning. Now as we get into the afternoon hours for tomorrow, more on and off scattered showers are going to be making their way through the region, so still some dry hours to be had out there, and right around 7 o'clock is when you can expect much of this to be over with. We'll be staying dry throughout the rest of your Monday night. So for tonight though, we're seeing those showers getting started right around 2 a.m. They'll be light at first, picking up in intensity around 4 a.m. and continuing throughout much of your Monday to start off the work week.
Good to know, Chase. Thank you for that report. We'll see you later on the broadcast. Folks, still to come here on Fox 22 News at 10. Talks between the United States and Iran to end the war ended without compromise. We'll have more details on that. And later on, local college students are working on cases that still need answers. Those stories and more after the break.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust. We get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Hey guys, see anything in the clouds? That one kind of looks like a cat.
Santa Claus. Wow. Eating a sandwich.
That's specific.
A car that sees what you can't.
Yep, that's him.
How it should be. The Hyundai Tucson.
Lease an all-wheel drive Hyundai Tucson SE for $209 a month, or get 0% APR plus 0 payments for 90 days. Hurry in.
Is that a compression nut?
Oh!
We got a duct taper.
Playing it safe won't propel Maine forward. Conservative Jonathan Bush agrees. A new kind of Bush. He believes Maine needs to diversify our economy, cut property and income taxes. Conservative, Republican, disruptor. Jonathan Bush for governor.
When Blazing Trails located in Lincoln want to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Blazing Trails is Lincoln's #1 trusted dispensary, providing outstanding product and customer service to eastern and central Maine. Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust. We get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. The ceasefire between the United States and Iran remains up in the air after peace talks in Pakistan ended without a deal. Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson has the story.
Delegations from the U.S. and Iran arrive in Pakistan to conduct historic direct talks as the war enters its 7th week. Vice President J.D. Vance leading the U.S. side, becoming the most senior U.S. official to hold face-to-face talks with Iran since the country's Islamic Revolution in 1979. Vance warned Iranian officials on Friday to play fair ahead of the talks.
If the Iranians are willing to negotiate in good faith, we're certainly willing to extend the open hand. If they're going to try to play us, then they're going to find that the negotiating team is not that receptive.
While the sides are expected to discuss ways to advance a current 2-week ceasefire, Iranian officials plan to hold their ground in the fight. As an Iranian spokesperson says, the talks are viewed as a way to defend Iran's existence.
Diplomacy for us right now, without exaggeration, is the continuation of defense, the continuation of war.
Reopening the critical Strait of Hormuz will be a key American negotiating point. It comes as U.S. Central Command says plans are in place to start clearing out mines in the area.
This is the type of activity that needs to happen, quietly, thoughtfully, forcefully, imposing.
Clearing access to the strait could help bring gas prices down back home, have a broader impact on the global market.
This is really about the United States showing that we can restore and then maintain that global order.
Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
Police in the Bahamas continue to search for Lynette Hooker, an American woman who went missing last week, while her husband Brian remains in custody. Fox News correspondent Madison Scarpino has the story.
Friday night marked 48 hours since Brian Hooker has been detained. Now, Bahamian law requires anyone in police custody to be released within that time frame if they have not been charged with a crime. And even though Brian has not yet been charged, Bahamian police got an extension to hold him until Monday evening, according to his attorney. And she says he's facing a lot of questions.
He was questioned in relation to causing harm, which resulted in her death. But we have no evidence that, or at least we've not been informed of any evidence that anybody has been recovered or any information in relation to her death.
Brian's attorney says he is very emotional about all this. She says Brian wants Lynette to be recovered, and he, quote, feels hopeless without her. But both Lynette's mother and daughter are questioning whether foul play was involved. Friday on the Drop Dead Serious podcast, Lynette's mother tells Ashley Banfield her daughter and Brian had a lot of ups and downs. She claims the two had a rocky 25-year marriage, and there were incidents of domestic violence. Back in 2015, Lynette spent the night in jail after police responded to a physical fight between the couple. The police report states the fight left Brian's face bloodied and that Lynette claims Brian hit her in the forehead, but Brian's attorney says he categorically denies that. The search for Lynette has now become a recovery operation, but with no body and no other witnesses, Brian's attorney says it will be interesting to see what kind of evidence Bahamian police have. In Atlanta, Madison Scarpino, Fox News.
In other news, a prisoner of war exchange between Russia and Ukraine resulted in 175 Ukrainian soldiers returning from Russian captivity yesterday. These soldiers, ranging from 22 to 63 years of age, were seen getting off a bus in an emotional return home. Most of those exchanged have been in captivity since 2022. 7 civilian Ukrainians were also released. Russia and Ukraine have been making periodic exchanges since the U.S. brokered negotiations between Moscow and Kyiv. The talks have otherwise delivered no progress on key issues to end the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russian President Vladimir Putin declared a 32-hour ceasefire over this weekend's Orthodox Easter. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also agreed to abide by the ceasefire, describing it as an opportunity to build on peace initiatives. All right, folks, still to come here on Fox 22 News at 10. Bringing light to history hiding in plain sight. A preview of Black History Walking Tour happening in Bangor next month. And later on, we'll take you to a new workshop and self-defense class that was recently held here in the city of Bangor. Those stories and more as the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 carries on.
Bring on the spring at the Honda Spring Event with the 2025 Kelley Blue Book Best Value brand. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or hurry into your local Honda dealer today.
Craving something delicious? Welcome to High Street Market, located at 167 Enfield Road in Lincoln. Breakfast options? Grab a cup of coffee and try one of our sandwiches or burritos. When breakfast is over, we're just getting started. Pizza, subs, burgers, and pastries. Come get lost in Danny's Beer Cave. Order online and save 10% off your first order. High Street Market, where your taste buds go to party.
Spring is here and the rebates are huge with Valley Home Services. With the quiet and efficient Fujitsu Airstage units, there's never been a better time to buy. And with Efficiency Main rebates up to $9,500. Plus, Valley Home is offering an additional promotional discount of $750 per system until April 30th. Best of all, everyone qualifies for a rebate even if you've received one before. Spring into home comfort and incredible rebates with Valley Home Services.
Bangor, ready to get rugged? Join the community April 20th for the massive grand opening of Rugged Roots Trading Post, Stillwater Avenue, Bangor. Meet the crew. Explore a wide selection of premium Maine-grown products. Doors open 9 a.m. Cut rate prices you won't believe. Can't wait till 4/20? They're open now. Or visit ruggedrootstradingpost.com. For use only by adults 21 years of age and older. License number AMS 1775.
Bring on the spring at the Honda Spring Event with the 2025 Kelley Blue Book Best Value brand. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or hurry into your local Honda dealer today.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. 23 people from across the globe became U.S. citizens on Friday. The ceremony was held inside the Margaret Chase Smith Federal Building in Bangor. Ryan Kirby says his biggest challenge was understanding the English language and learning U.S. history. But as the 21-year-old told us, he's proud to say he speaks fluent English. He also explained he's looking forward to pursuing an education in exercise science and getting into the field of sports.
It's never too late. Just try and give it your best, and don't be afraid.
On top of being involved in the world of sports, Kirby also says he has aspirations to play college football and someday make it to the NFL draft. We certainly wish him the best of luck in that endeavor. A unique program at Husson University is giving students the chance to step into the world of criminal justice by working on cases that still need answers. Our Alexa Kennedy has the story.
Students pursuing investigative careers are getting the opportunity to work on real-life cold cases through the Husson Cold Case Internship Program. The hands-on program brings together students in pre-law, forensic science, and criminal justice to analyze and potentially resolve cold cases provided by state police and the Attorney General's office.
We really push the methodology of experiential learning. And what better way for students to get experience on what they're going to be doing once they leave here than giving them some practice at it while they are here.
Students review evidence, build witness lists, and explore new investigative options using modern techniques. Pelletier says even small steps matter.
I would make the argument that anytime you look at a case, you're going to make some type of progress. It just doesn't, you might not know what that looks like.
Participating students say this interactive program gave them an advantage when preparing to enter the workforce.
I feel like this has helped me get my firsthand real-world experience before I'm put out into the real world and graduate, which I feel like has given me an opportunity that not many people get to say they have.
It truly brings your education to life. I wanted to do something meaningful. I'm really big about helping other people, and it gave me an opportunity to really help the victims and their families and give them some sort of sense of closure.
At the end of each semester, students present their findings, hoping their work can help move cases closer to resolution. In Bangor, Alexa Kennedy, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news, the Maine Whoopie Pie Festival is a beloved over Foxcroft tradition. Last year, around 10,000 people came to enjoy the festivities, which locals say is excellent for the economy, but can be a headache when it comes to traffic. Patrick Myers is an organizer for the Whoopie Pie Festival. He says the small volunteer team of folks directing parking and traffic last year were understandably so well over their heads. To get more assistance this year, Myers is seeking local organizations to help out with manpower. In exchange, participating organizations will receive $1,000 donations.
This year, the Essex Street Bridge down by the fairgrounds is closed. We need to get some more help making sure we could get the cars in off the street so we weren't tying up traffic so much around town.
Interested organizations are asked to call the Center Theater and ask for Patrick Myers. The festival takes place on June 13th. There's an annual walking tour of Bangor that brings light to history hiding in plain sight. On Friday, I spoke with one organizer who told me he wants it to become a more common occurrence. Here's that story.
This 2-minute news story only scratches the surface of what lies beneath us.
Just trying to accept the fact that the possibilities are there and opening up the idea of it is something that I don't think has really been presented to the community at whole.
Next month, Black Travel Maine will be hosting a Black History walking tour of downtown Bangor.
The Black community in this area, it's not necessarily a segregated area.
The tour will traverse time and landmarks, taking participants across the Kenduskeag Stream toward the Columbia Street Baptist Church.
A lot of activity for the Black community happened there. Then it'll move on to Hammond Street. We'll talk about Hammond Street Congregational Church. That church where the Anti-Slavery Society used to hold functions back in the 1830s when they first got together. And then from there we'll move back into downtown Bangor and talk about the Underground Railroads underneath Pickering Square. The oral history behind that, moving slaves through the Underground Railroad, across the river over to the Holyoke House, which ties in the North to Freedom statue, where they were stationed until it was safe for them to continue their ground travel towards Canada.
For Bangor area guide David Payne, the tour goes beyond Bangor's brick facade.
It really is a family involvement. A lot of my research when I started, I talked with family, a couple of them, fortunate for me, they were born in the 1800s and I was able to get the time to talk with them. Others that have since passed on shared stories that weren't asked through the generations. And I'm able to carry that forward.
The tour will be held on Saturday, May 2nd, and it'll start at 1 o'clock in front of the Black Matriarch sign in front of the Bangor Public Library. To learn more, visit blacktravelmaine.com.
The biggest thing for me with the tour is just recognizing what used to be here and how everything used to come together.
In Bangor, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
All right, folks, after the break, the weekend review. What stories made the list? Find out next.
What animal suggested this image? I mean, we all know the answer, except for that one guy.
Who will be part of the 1% Club? Only Mondays on Fox.
Chevy trucks are as capable and dependable as the Chevy people who drive them. You probably know one. Your sister. Your buddy. The ones who always show up. They all have that little extra something. And maybe you got it too.
It's Chevy Truck Month. Get supplier discount for everyone pricing for over $8,300 in total value on this 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500. Plus, Costco executive members can get a $12.50 members-only incentive.
Does your vehicle need a little work? Have an odd sound coming from somewhere? Bring it over to Jackson's Automotive in Old Town. We personally hand select the best technicians from around the area and have top-of-the-line diagnostic equipment to solve any issues that your vehicle may be experiencing. If you're unable to drive your vehicle to us, we can help you get it here. Also, if you'd like to protect your vehicle for years to come, we offer Wool Wax Undercarriage Protection. We're located at 546 Main Street in Old Town. Give us a call at 827-2676.
At Toyota, we believe longevity is the true measure of affordability. The longer something lasts, the further your money goes. So with Toyota being the longest lasting brand, your money goes the furthest. Now, during our longest lasting value event, you could save up to $5,800 with 2.99 for 72 on most 2026 Tundra models. Plus, get $1,000 bonus financing cash. See your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Lights, camera, cheese! The Cheese House is looking for its next star, and it could be you. If you're 21 or older, enter for your chance to appear in the next commercial. Stop by the Cheese House at 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield to enter. While you're there, browse their huge selection of glassware and 420 specialty foods. But we have the cheese! Remember, entries are happening in person at the Cheese House, 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield. Bring your personality, bring your smile, and we have the cheese.
Welcome back and welcome into our weekend show segment, The Weekend Review. We each Saturday and Sunday, we take suggestions to stories here at ABC 7 and Fox 22, ranging from breaking news to feel-good features that stood out to you during our weekday and air them in its entirety. First, RSU 63 serves the towns of Clifton, Holden, and Eddington. On Monday night, RSU 63's school board voted to close the Eddington Elementary School. The closure is not immediate, and there is a long process ahead. Our Callie Warren has those details.
The emotions are across the board. Nobody wants to close the school.
With just 116 pre-K to first graders attending classes at the Eddington Elementary School and around 12 full-time teachers to instruct them, the RSU 63 school board is concerned that keeping classrooms open is costing taxpayers more in the long run.
Enrollment's down, funding's down, and our number one priority is the kids and their services and the resources. So, we have to keep the kids, the students in the forefront with the decisions that we make.
With the Eddington School needing building repairs and state funding being cut due to lower enrollment numbers, school board members say that the school staying open is creating a roughly $500,000 budget shortfall. They say a school closure would not affect educators' jobs, but the matter remains contentious among local taxpayers.
With the tax rate going up as a result of revaluation and everything else, we've got to do what we can to cut taxes.
There is no saving, no difference in students and special education because you have to have the same amount of staff, you have the same needs for the students.
The board voted Tuesday night to close the school 6-2, though a long process still remains.
The superintendent kind of puts a report together that then goes to the state. The state will then determine if the building is needed or not. And from there, it will go to a referendum between the three towns.
Callie Warren reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Next, a Down East community is considering overturning a nearly century-old ban put in place for conservation and public safety. While there is broad agreement that the deer population needs to be addressed, there are also real concerns about what changing that policy could mean for public safety. Alex Schley has the story.
On May 11th, Tremont voters will decide whether to allow limited deer hunting by residents and property owners.
The deer population is very large.
Hunting has been prohibited anywhere on Mount Desert Island since the 1930s.
You can see anywhere between 20 to 100 in an evening drive between Southwest and Tremont.
As both the human and deer population in Tremont have grown, officials say so have the number of incidents.
Very common to have deer vehicle crashes. They are constantly causing nuisances with people's gardens and landscaping.
State wildlife officials say this is not the first time deer numbers have become a concern for Mountain Desert Island communities.
Really every 5 or 10 years with some town on MDI where they talk about different deer removal options, and those planning things, they get to various stages, but they usually fall short.
Town officials say that at the request of residents, any approved hunting would be strictly regulated.
Archery and shotgun only. You have to be a Tremont resident or a property owner in Tremont to do it. You'll have to come here to the town office to verify that information and get a permit. It is required to be from a fixed blind or a tree stand, so there's no walking through the woods looking for a deer.
Hunters would also need landowners' permission, and property owners would be required to disclose where stands are located. If passed, the ordinance would allow hunting each November for 3 years, before going back to the select board for review. In Tremont, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Finally, school nutrition teams from across the state competed in the annual Farm to School Cook-Off on Wednesday. The competition came to a conclusion with one team being crowned the Cook-Off champion. Our Grace Blanchard has a story.
Competitors in Maine's annual Farm to School Cook-Off faced off in a final battle at Bangor High School on Wednesday.
The team that wins today will receive a plaque, a Farm to School Champion Award.
Teams representing MSAD 1, MSAD 52, and RSU 22 have been competing in regional competitions as part of the Maine Department of Education's 11th annual competition that aims to highlight school nutrition programs.
We really want to promote all the great work that's happening in school nutrition programs across Maine. We really are a leader in the country and the Northeast when it comes to local foods and school meals.
Teams must prepare breakfast and lunch meals all within a set time frame, using at least 1 USDA food and 3 local ingredients.
We're all bringing different ideas and kind of collaborating, and yes, we're all competing, but it's a really good thing to be able to see what the other people are doing.
Local foods play an essential role in school nutrition efforts.
We're using local ingredients and then therefore supporting the farmers who can then continue to create these local ingredients, and it's a rising tide that lifts all ships. Our kids get to eat great local produce, and then our farmers are also able to survive. So.
The judges ultimately crowned Team Nourish Kids of RSU 22 as the cook-off champions. All recipes presented during the cook-off will now be compiled into a cookbook for other school nutrition teams to use in lunchrooms statewide.
This is a way that we can kind of push this towards them, and then and at least in one small way we can make sure they're getting a good nutritious meal.
In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And as the Weekend Review segment continues, we like you at home to be a part of it. Didn't see a story you thought should have been included? Well, then email us throughout the week at weekendreview@wvii.com for what stories during the past week made an impact or stood out to you. Tune in again next Saturday night here on Fox 22 News at 10 for a new slate of local stories. All right, folks, Chase Ropenack is in next with our full 5-day forecast.
After staying dry for much of the day for your Sunday, we got more cloud cover coming in for tonight with more rain showers in the forecast. They look to stick around throughout much of tonight into tomorrow as well. How much rainfall are we going to see? We'll have those answers coming right up.
A lot goes into a Subaru vehicle. Find yours at Quirk in Bangor. Backed by safety and reliability, lease the Forester Premium for $299 a month. For performance and value, lease the Crosstrek for $298 per month. It's your Subaru. Find it at Quirk.
When I was 29, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I think part of research and advocating for more money for cancer research allows survivors to have more time. Senator Collins supports and advocates for more funding for cancer research so that people can have better treatments, they can have better outcomes, and therefore they can live better lives as cancer survivors. Thank you, Senator Collins. Continue fighting for our families.
At Toyota, we believe longevity is the true measure of affordability. The longer something lasts, the further your money goes. So with Toyota being the longest lasting brand, your money goes the furthest. Now, during our longest lasting value event, you can get $3.99 for $72 on an affordable fuel-sipping all-wheel drive Camry hybrid with a captivating interior and 2 years no-cost maintenance. See your New England Toyota dealer, your hybrid all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Are your gutters weighed down by debris causing them to sag and overflow? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems. Clogged gutters lead to costly repairs for your home, so skip the cleaning and stop the clogs with Gutter Shutter. Gutter Shutter, the world's best gutter, is a high-performance gutter with a lifetime no-clog guarantee. Stop the clutter, get Gutter Shutter. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
It's the declaration of deals at Quirk in Bangor. Lease Ram Bighorn for $499 a month. Or for maximum comfort and space, including a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, lease 26 Pacifica for $399 a month. It's your Ram, it's your van. Find it at Quirk.
What animal suggested this image? I mean, we all know the answer, except for that one guy.
Who will be part of the 1% Club? Only Mondays on Fox.
Folks, we saw increasing clouds throughout the day, but that sunshine early on did help us reach into the mid-50s here in Bangor. Low 50s along your coastline with that sea breeze out there, but still plenty of us in the mid-50s near Lewiston and Sanford. Freiburg at 58 for today, and still saw 50 reach all the way up north to Presque Isle this afternoon as well. So for tonight, our temperature is going to be hovering right around 40 degrees, maybe a few of us a few degrees below, but we'll have plenty of clouds and rain showers on the way for tonight. Those rain showers will hit a little bit later in the night, but as we get into tomorrow, we'll still see scattered showers on and off throughout the day, but a gusty southwest wind is going to help our temperatures get close to the upper 50s for tomorrow. But with all that cloud cover, expect to hang out still in the mid 50s like we were for today. So average highs this time of year right around the low 50s, still looking to be above average for tomorrow. Check out your Tuesday, 68 degrees. Wednesday and Thursday still hanging out in the low to mid 60s. You could have another 68 degree day for your Friday, but we're going to get plenty of weather with this warm stretch of temperatures as well. Into your weekend, we look to cool off a bit, still above above average with mid to upper 50s forecasted Saturday and Sunday. So again, winds out there, they're going to begin to increase throughout the night. By the early morning hours, we'll see some gusty winds reaching gusts near 25 to 30 miles per hour, looking to stay a little bit stronger along your coastline with those winds being from the south. And you can still see the winds dying down a bit inland, but along your coastline, still plenty of wind out there with those gusts remaining over 30 to 35 miles per hour. Now, once we get done with the rain showers, the winds will die down heading into tomorrow night, staying light into your Tuesday morning. But there's still a very active pattern after this system passes us forward tonight. So you're looking at rain showers shortly after 2 a.m., picking up in intensity right around 4 to 5 a.m. And this will be on and off throughout the day for your Monday. So not going to see the the rain really collect a lot along your coastline. It's more going to be north where you'll see those higher rain totals. But as we continue, we'll take a little bit of a break Monday night into your Tuesday morning, but we'll see more chances for rain showing up late in the day Tuesday. I feel like some of this can be Virga, but Tuesday evening, you're going to see another line of showers moving on the way. Maybe a few rumbles of thunder, but this will lose energy throughout the night. So mainly looking at rain chances for Tuesday night as well. So here we are into tomorrow night for the system we're about to be impacted by tonight into tomorrow. A quarter inch of rain or so here in Bangor, the less as you get closer to your coastline, because Monday afternoon, as you saw, a lot of on and off showers, right? We'll still have plenty of dry hours out there, but a little bit more to the north and to the west is where you're going to see the heavier showers kind of sticking around throughout more of the day, and you have a better chance of getting right around a half inch or so of rainfall in those areas. So for tonight, we got lows sticking right around 40, our forecast low at 39, increasing clouds with rain showers showing up a little bit after 2 a.m. and becoming moderate to heavy at some times right around 4 to 5 a.m. So we'll see this continue into tomorrow. Some dry hours out there as well. We'll just see scattered showers throughout the day. They could be on and off throughout the afternoon. Looking at highs in the mid 50s, but yes, a little windy out there with winds gusting near 30 miles per hour from the south. So here's a look at your extended forecast. 68 for your Tuesday. We can see a slight chance for some rain showers in the afternoon. Better chances for more rain Tuesday night into your Wednesday. You can see highs then still right around the mid 60s, taking a drop in temperatures into the low 60s Thursday, staying dry, but another chance for potential rain showers Friday as highs try to reach the upper 60s once again.
Good to know, Chase. Thank you for that report. Folks, before we head to break, a check on some final scores from today from outside of Maine. The Red Sox took down the Cardinals in St. Louis 9-3. The Celtics at home against the Orlando Magic won 113-108. The Bruins on the road against the Columbus Blue Jackets won 3-2, a clean sweep of New England right there. And Rory McIlroy is bringing the coveted green jacket back to Northern Ireland after winning the Masters tournament for the second year in a row today. Final score of 12 under. Great round of golf to watch there. All right, with that in mind, sports is next with Max Sturm, so stay right here. We'll be right back.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
You bought your Toyota because Toyota is the longest lasting brand. You put your trust in Toyota's reputation for quality. Now put your trust in Toyota-trained certified technicians who install genuine Toyota parts to help keep your Toyota a Toyota. April is our tire savings event. You could save on tires at your New England Toyota dealer with limited time offers. Trust the experts at Toyota Service Centers and keep your Toyota a Toyota.
Hey! That ought to do it. Who hurt you?
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Tuesday, the chilling 2-hour finale.
Never seen anything like it.
A deadly virus will change everything.
Amy, step back.
Doc, 2-hour finale, Tuesday on Fox.
Welcome back in, folks. Last fall, former NASCAR driver Ricky Craven returned to Maine and purchased the former Speedway 95. With races beginning this summer, I went trackside with Craven to talk about his inspiration to revive the sport of racing in Maine.
It's going to be a drag race. Wow! They touch!
Much is known about Ricky Craven, the race car driver. The former NASCAR Cup Series racer spent 25 years behind the wheel of the world's fastest cars and competed in the world's most iconic events. Following his racing career and a 14-year stint as an analyst at ESPN, Craven is beginning what he calls his third life, being a track owner.
It's mostly my purpose. I mean, there's everything else in life, and then there's racing, and racing has been front and center. 25 years behind the wheel, that blossomed into a 14-year career as an analyst. Much like that, this just arrived, and we capitalized on it. So here we are, track owner.
The Maine-born driver purchased the former Speedway 95 back in August. Craven says his inspiration for adopting the racetrack goes all the way back to his childhood.
Speedway 95 was as important to me in my childhood as the Daytona 500, even more so because my heroes raced there. As I grew in the sport, not everybody acknowledged Bangor, Maine or Herman, Maine as being motorsports mecca.
Craven has since set out to change that narrative. Creating a strong racing hub in central Maine will require a lot of time, effort, and of course, money. A challenge Craven says he's approaching the same way he did in his racing career.
We're not going to take a backseat to anybody. We want to be a premier facility. We want to have an extraordinary show. And we want people that come here to feel like they can't wait to get back.
Craven's full vision for the track will take several years to come to fruition. But he says he's already seeing the excitement start to ramp up in the Pine Tree State.
The early innings, they're not how we want to be remembered. We want to be remembered for the end product. And it'll take 3 or 4 years. Now, what's most impressive is the enthusiasm from the competitors, the customers, the advertising, the business sector here, the advertising market. The enthusiasm has been over the top.
The first official race here will be on June 6th. So from Ricky Craven Speedway, presented by Bar Harbor Bank and Trust, I'm Max Sturm, ABC 7 and Fox 22 Sports.
Such a cool experience being able to go out on the track, take some laps with him, and pick his brain about his career and his vision for the track. This weekend, both the Husson men's and women's lacrosse teams played in front of their home crowd. So we'll bring you those games now, starting with the men. What a game we had here. SUNY Delhi and the Broncos make the long trip to take on the Eagles at Boucher Field. Getting things started early are the Broncos' Kyle Moore dishes to Anthony McLaughlin. He lays it low in traffic and scores the first goal of the game. Then later, Jagger Baychak with this sweet underhand toss to Chris Lazaro to keep the lead at halftime at 6-3 Delhi. But that's when things changed. Kieran Field snipes the top of the net to give the Eagles a start to their run. Another goal from Field, plus scores from Owen Giorgio and Dominic Hollenkamp would tie the game up at 7. And then this missile from Giorgio coming back the other way in the fourth quarter gives Husson their first lead of the game, and they never looked back. This goal from Hollenkamp to go up 4 in the fourth quarter would seal the game for Husson, and they win 12-9. As for the women, it was senior day for the Eagles, and they take on UMaine Farmington. The Eagles started hot. Avery Baker finds Kate Bumke cutting in front of the crease, and she finds the back of the net. Shortly after that, Layla Martinez makes a few nice moves on her way to the net, and she also cashes in. Reese Sullivan nets this shot to give Husson a 5-1 lead early, but not so fast as the Beavers made up for their early slump, starting with Ruby McMinnis, who fires one from point blank to make it 5-2. And then they make it 5-4 after McMinnis finds Ali Trefsker on the free position shot. Husson found that same spark from earlier, though, and Avery Baker adds another point to her season total. And then Martinez dodges and weaves her way for her third goal of the game. She would end up with 4, and the Eagles win 14-8. That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes & More has a team of experts trained in podorthics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or the hard-to-fit foot. Discover the latest in functional and fashionable footwear for men and women from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Merrell, and Ariat. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit-in fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
Who has the best kept secret in Penobscot County?
We do!
Welcome to Maple Lane Farms, a fifth-generation family farm that's committed to providing you with the best quality products. Our farm-raised local and sustainable meat is flash frozen to lock in the freshness and natural flavors. Experience the top-notch quality of our meat that's naturally raised without any antibiotics or hormones. Get the best of both worlds, quality and affordability. Try Maple Lane Farms today, the candy store for the carnivore.
At Toyota, we believe longevity is the true measure of affordability. The longer something lasts, the further your money goes. So with Toyota being the longest lasting brand, your money goes the furthest. Now, during our longest lasting value event, you could get a $179 a month lease on a fuel-sipping Corolla gas sedan with an $11,264 total contract cost and 2 years no cost maintenance. See your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Spring is here and the rebates are huge with Valley Home Services. With the quiet and efficient Fujitsu Airstage units, there's never been a better time to buy. And with Efficiency Main rebates up to $9,500. Plus, Valley Home is offering an additional promotional discount of $750 per system until April 30th. Best of all, everyone qualifies for a rebate even if you've received one before. Spring into home comfort and incredible rebates with Valley Home Services.
I found the University Studies program, and the people were fantastic, and they helped me understand how I could really pretty easily become part of UMaine, become part of that program, and showed me that within about 2 years, I could have my degree. What I like about being able to study anywhere is probably this. I can literally be outside on the deck. I can be in my house. I can be in another country doing my schoolwork, and it just works really well for my for the life that I have.
This is MasterChef Global Gauntlet.
My family history on a plate.
It's a Band-Aid?
Kicks off Wednesday, April 15th on Fox.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. You didn't need a passport to take a culinary trip around the world on Friday, not as long as you were at Northern Lights Eastern Maine Medical Center in Bangor. Employees, patients, and visitors were invited to attend their multicultural food court event. They got to sample flavors from around the globe, including cuisines from Italy, Lebanon, Japan, and Mexico.
It's a wonderful way to build that, the cultural connection, understanding, awareness, and get people to come together and just eat good food and talk and laugh.
Organizers say the event was good for morale and are pleased with the turnout. You have the chance to grab a Picasso for a little over $100. Visitors at Christie's auction house in Paris can participate in the One Picasso for €100 raffle. And it's just like how it sounds. Buy a raffle ticket for €100 and get the chance to win a Picasso painting. €1 million of the proceeds will go to the Opera Gallery that owns the painting. The rest of the proceeds goes to funding Alzheimer's research. The Picasso painting will be on display at its galleries in Paris ahead of this coming Tuesday's drawing. Well, it may be springtime now, but summer is just around the corner, and this year, the summer season could be the longest one yet. A new study suggests summer is growing longer. That's according to research recently published in the journal Environmental Research Letters, looking at data from 1961 to 2024. It found that across much of North America, Europe, and large parts of Asia, summers have gained 5 to 7 extra days per decade since 1990. And since the 1960s, we are experiencing around 30 more days of summer conditions. Instead of tying summer to June, July, and August, they defined summer by temperature, or when heat rose above historical norms and when it fell back down again. However, the study also showed that summers aren't just getting longer, but hotter. Since 1990, heat has been building up faster than before, adding up to about a ½ degree Celsius more per month each decade. The 26th annual wheelchair basketball tournament returned to Huss University's Newman Gymnasium yesterday. It's hosted by the Organization of Physical Therapy Students, bringing together faculty, students, wheelchair users in the community, and this year, a professional wheelchair basketball team.
Some of our real athletes who are playing here, and it's so fun to see them go from being able to play with their legs, their arms, to not having their legs at all, and just seeing how they understand the struggle of everyday users, and just being appreciative for everything that people have, and like being able to just participate in something like this is just so fun.
Every year, the tournament functions as a fundraiser for campus organizations. This year, they fundraised for Student Food Insecurity and Emergency Fund, helping to ensure no Hudson students have to go hungry. The Artemis II astronauts are back home, safe and sound, after setting an incredible record for deep space travel. The astronauts not only traveled deeper than any human has gone before, but they also captured stunning images of the moon. Fox News correspondent Madison Scarpino has a story.
It was so incredible to watch the Artemis II crew throughout the entire process, from the launch to seeing them up in space to that flawless splashdown. The world got to witness a historic mission. The crew got an emotional hero's welcome at the Johnson Space Center Saturday. Commander Reed Wiseman says he and pilot Victor Glover, mission specialist Christina Cook, and mission specialist Jeremy Hansen are now bonded forever, and he gave a lot of thanks to his family.
Victor, Christina, and Jeremy, we are bonded forever, and no one down here is ever going to know what the four of us just went through, and it was the most special thing that will ever happen in my life.
The crew traveling deeper into space than any other humans before, it was a record-breaking trip around the moon. And although Christina Cook is an experienced astronaut, she says it was during this mission that she got a better understanding of the meaning of a crew.
Honestly, what struck me wasn't necessarily just Earth, it was all the blackness around it. Earth was just this lifeboat hanging undisturbingly in the universe.
And this mission is really just laying the groundwork for future missions. They accomplished some amazing things, so you can only imagine what NASA will achieve in the future, but they're hoping for a trip to Mars. In Atlanta, Madison Scarpino, Fox News.
And finally here tonight, a new event was recently held here in the city of Bangor. She's an Asset is a women's empowerment class led by Autumn Schmidt. Participants dive into workshops in a self-defense class, all aimed at unlocking their inner power. Among those in attendance was our Janessa Bishop, who stepped away from the Good Morning Maine desk to join in on the event.
What are we doing today? Why are you here?
We're an asset.
You're an asset. Yes, you are. Tell me more.
Taking up more space.
Taking up more space. Yes. What else? What are we doing? Anybody know? We're growing.
Women of all ages gathered in Bangor to unlock their inner potential with Autumn Schmidt, founder of the company She's an Asset. That motto followed participants throughout the day as they were asked to reflect and journal on their life. Schmidt encourages all women to take what they learned from the class and apply it to their everyday lives. A bakery owner expressed her experience with the class.
I mean, the confidence thing, the empowerment that I, need to feel in myself really will help not only me but my business grow.
Participants not only brainstormed with each other, they also got to experience a self-defense class with Schmidt, who is a police officer and black belt.
Straight. Breathe out. Straight. Good.
The class gets you up and moving while learning important skills. Someone else in attendance was Autumn's mother, someone who's seen her build this company from the ground up.
Just overjoyed when you watch your child succeed.
Well, if you're looking to become more powerful, whether that's in your career or your personal life, you can find Schmidt at she'sanasset.com or on social media at, of course, She's an Asset. In Bangor, Janessa Bishop for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
And that's all we have for tonight. I'm Doug Banks, and from everyone here at Fox 22 News at 10, thank you for watching. We'll be back here tomorrow morning. Hopefully you are too. Until then, take care and good night.
We've got a 100-year-old company here, and it's because of the service, the quality, and the experience. It gets done right.
I think we've been doing it for so long. The only thing that we do, that when we walk into a room, we automatically know how to treat that window. We can take any product that the customer's looking for and make it work in just about any situation that they present us with. So
There's no reason to be overwhelmed. We can help you through it.
we're not going anywhere. We've been around for 100 years.
Does your vehicle need a little work? Have an odd sound coming from somewhere? Bring it over to Jackson's Automotive in Old Town. We personally hand select the best technicians from around the area and have top-of-the-line diagnostic equipment to solve any issues that your vehicle may be experiencing. If you're unable to drive your vehicle to us, we can help you get it here. Also, if you'd like to protect your vehicle for years to come, we offer Wool Wax undercarriage protection. We're located at 546 Main Street in Old Town. Give us a call at 827-2676.
At Toyota, we believe longevity is the true measure of affordability. The longer something lasts, the further your money goes. So with Toyota being the longest lasting brand, your money goes the furthest. Now, during our longest lasting value event, you can get $4.99 for 72 on a fuel-sipping Tacoma with $500 bonus cash on SR5 gas models and 2 years no-cost maintenance. See your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Need a safe and caring place for your loved one during the day? At the Merchant Center Adult Day program, we provide a supportive environment where adults can enjoy companionship, engaging activities, and personalized care in a setting that feels like home. Our experienced staff is committed to meeting each person's unique needs while promoting independence, dignity, and overall well-being. Families can feel confident knowing their loved ones are in compassionate, capable hands.
Whoever wins the most duels earns the Territory Freeze.
It's the best advantage the floor has ever had.
Bring it!
The Floor is all new Wednesdays on Fox.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Previously on The Rookie.
Bianca